copy. I got this 20-man crew. We're trying to get to you, but the road's blocked and the main highway's blocked, and I don't even know if we can get to you.
Gatlinburg, Tennessee is a small town that was founded in 1856. It's located at the foothills of the Great Smoky Mountains National Park and has a population of just over 4,000. It's known for its beautiful views and tranquility. But on the night of November 28, 2016, that would all change. There was no way the small mountain town could be prepared for the most destructive fire in Tennessee's history. The origin of the fire was in the Smoky Mountains National Park. 2 juvenile boys were striking and throwing matches on one of the Smokies' most popular hiking trails, the Chimney Tops. This was during a drought that had already lasted over 4 months. The combination of extremely dry forest and over 80-mile-per-hour winds was enough to send the fires over 5.5 miles into the town of Gatlinburg.
The morning of November 28th, we woke up. We live up above the aquarium, and we could see usually downtown extremely well, but this day you couldn't see hardly anything. It was like a real dense fog of smoke. And actually, for the first time, you could even taste the smoke, even being in your house. When I walked from our bedroom to the kitchen, I told my wife, I said, I can even taste it for the first time.
I called my boss to see if he knew anything about it, and he said that he was at work, so I went to work early, and everybody at work and everybody through town had a mask on covering their face so they could be able to breathe. And town was really, really bad. It was dead, it was smoky, and it was just orange everywhere. You could just really tell how bad it really was.
And when I got up in the morning, the smell of smoke was so thick, and I thought maybe I had left something on the stove. It just scared me. And I ran in the kitchen, and I realized that was smoke from outside that has come into the house.
By the time nighttime came, the smoke was orange. The sky was orange, and so it would be where I live is up on top of a mountain in the Smokies, and I have a great view of everything outside of it. I have a great view of LeConte right there, and I couldn't see anything 5 feet in front of me. But not only that, it should be pitch black outside, but it's orange. It's completely orange, and so I figured obviously there's a fire close by.
Police were going around knocking on doors, telling everybody to evacuate. And a door-to-door evacuation, and so we grabbed what we could and threw it all in our vehicles, and we left.
First thing that I wanted to do was to get back to Gatlinburg, and everybody advised me, stay where you're at. They're barricading the town, they're evacuating everybody, the fires are everywhere. And I was shocked that the fires had progressed that fast, but I guess the wind was the big game changer. When it came up and winds got close to 100 mile an hour that night, they were clocked at 87 mile an hour. That's when all the instruments that were clocking the wind went down with loss of power. So.
It was strange because we left not even knowing if we were going to have a place to live the next day. It's a very strange feeling.
Yeah, it was just one of those things, something would happen here, then something would happen over here, and then then the winds picked up, and then, the fire just came, like roaring out of the park, and there was no way to contain it. Nothing anybody could have done would have changed anything.
The fires poured down the mountains out of the park and engulfed the town of Gatlinburg. First responders rushed to do everything they could as the town was evacuated.
I did manage to get here. I wanted to see if anybody needed help, if there was any animals that needed evacuated from the aquarium. So managed to park in the aquarium, or the parking lot behind the aquarium, where the entire hill behind me was on fire. We stayed here for probably an hour or two just to kind of make sure things were all right. And the fires did die down by the end, but there were quite a few buildings that unfortunately did burn down. The spur was on fire. Pretty much everywhere through here was on fire.
we get down to the bottom of the mountain, and I mean, the spur is just lit up on both sides. It just looks like just like Christmas lights everywhere. Because I mean, it's not this big raging fire like you imagine. It's like, geez, like just you see the mountain lit up. You know, it's really dark, it's really hazy, but you see the mountain lit up. Where you can tell that the fire is raging is in the middle of the spur where there is a river and there are trees overhanging. That is absolutely on fire. So you know you're surrounded by fire on all sides, and you're just sitting in traffic, slowly waiting to get into Gatlinburg.
Shit. Go, 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 go. That should have melted these tires in a heartbeat. Go.
I can't see.
Just hit the fucking gas. You're on pavement. Fuck. Hit the gas. Hit the gas. It's too hot in here. Don't worry about the lines. Oh, shit. Oh, shit. Go, go, go. We don't need a flat right here. Oh, fucking tree. Fuck. Go through it. Go through it.
I can't.
Fuck. I cannot be stuck.
He drove as fast as he could past the fires that ravaged woods. The home she loved no longer stood. Hopes and dreams were gone for good. He loved his kids, he loved his wife. The fire's rage separated by miles. He held out hope in spite of fear, till she was found with her daughters near. These mountains will always be our home, though the embers took much away. For the sorrow there is hope and grace still in these mountains. All my resting place. All my resting place.
Very next morning, got my family together and drove back up to Gatlinburg and went out to Rocky Top Sports World, actually the community center, which was the command post. And I've never seen so many first responders there, police, firemen, National Guard, helicopters coming in and out. And when we were driving in that morning early, you know, the parts on the spur were still on fire, still smoldering and stuff like that. And so we didn't even know at that point if our house was still intact or if it was gone. Same way with our business. You know, we had our business about 1.5 miles from our house, condominiums. It was, you know, one of those things you just had to wait to find out what happened. But that sort of set the tone for that night and just how unbelievable it was. And when we left to go to Knoxville, we didn't take anything with us. We didn't take any of our personal pictures, any of our, you know, valuables that we had. You know, we've been in that house for over 20 years and found out the next day it was all just gone, you know, nothing but ashes.
wasn't about 3 or 4 days later until they finally put out the fires and let us go back to see that our house had actually burned. And I lost my car, my brother lost his car, you know, I lost all the photos and like memories of all my friends and family, and it sucks, you know, but mostly I'm just thankful I didn't lose anything living.
It was started up there. It took the lady's house up above me, came straight down here, gobbled up just my house. It didn't touch the outside part where I had leaves. And the wind was so powerful that it could blow the fires wherever it wanted. So it blew the fire out from my property and sent it on that ridge. So there was no, you know, I've heard of wildfires before. And trust me, this was a wildfire. It was as fast and furious as anything you can imagine. And my heart goes out to the firemen that were trying so hard, but you can't fight wind and fire to the extent that we had it. And it was just the perfect storm, if you will.
This is where my house was on November 28th when the fire started to happen. We didn't think it would come from the chimney tops to the upper town, to the middle of upper town, and it just spurt. The spurt just jumped, and it's pretty wild to see the spots that completely entirely were missed, and it jumped and landed in a holler and just burnt everything in the holler besides one house.
Although Gatlinburg had experienced an unthinkable tragedy, volunteers and responders from across the country showed that the town would not have to deal with it alone.
The community, in the county, in the city, it drew people so close together. It was something I never experienced, never would have dreamed, never thought I ever would have gone through. But instead at the grocery store, instead of shaking hands, it was always hugging people. And everybody, so many people were in the same boat. It wasn't like it was just me. It was tons of people.
And I was so happy our community pulled together like it did. It was amazing. It really was. The churches and everything were helping with stuff like that. And that was really heartwarming. And, you know, you think sometimes you want to live in a big city, but no, when something like this happens, you want a really close, small city because everybody knows somebody that was affected by it. And I think this really did make us feel much more connected and united.
People wanted to do something. You know, we had Boyd's Beer down in Pigeon Forge, this huge, huge building that turned into this amazing commissary, you know, like a depot of where you could bring stuff in and then people that needed it could take it out. So a lot of volunteer spirit, just an incredible experience. I'm saying it's something you would never, ever want anybody to go through or never want to go through yourself, but once you went through it, it made you a better person.
No, it was really, you know, the tight-knit community is amazing to be there for you whenever you need it, because you do, it does feel like a really large family that you have, and people just giving you food, even though, you know, I didn't need any food or anything. We had insurance to cover.
My brother and I showed up to our land and went through everything, and there was some people from churches, and these people were from out of state, and they were just separated in different states. One was from New York, and one was from California, and they had telling us their story about how they come and they just help people, and they clean up and do what they can. And those people did a lot of work for us to help us out.
With the community back on its feet and the arrival of help from different organizations, it was time for the community to start rebuilding.
Building permits are being pulled all the time. The city is trying to do everything they can to make it as easy for somebody to build back. We've actually waived any setback restrictions. As long as you're within that footprint or smaller, then you can rebuild where your house was. We just want to get rid of the image, get rid of any of the memories, and we're moving forward.
We're a close town, we're a tight-knit community. We'll figure out a way to get back on top of things, and it'll be Gatlinburg once again. You know, everyone's family, and everyone takes care of each other. That's the thing I learned most about these fires.